Hello ladies and gents, welcome to the very first episode of our Hearthstone Season 12 playthrough. My experience with Hearthstone in the past is that I did start playing Hearthstone in the very early days of the closed beta. Continued on for a couple seasons when the full release came, and I've played off and on since then. The highest rank that I've ever achieved, or the lowest rank as the case may be, is rank 9, which puts me at about the top 7.5% of players in the world. I've wanted to push forward. My collection of cards, however, was a little bit scant, and I didn't really have what I needed to push to that next level. I've always taken the sort of cheaper deck options. In the last season, I played a Mech Mage and of course the Hunter before they nerfed the Undertaker and those sorts of things. So this season, or last season, I didn't really play that much. I just played enough to get to rank 19 to get the card back. And so we're starting off fairly high in the ranks this season at rank 23. I should be able to progress to the lower ranks, at least the mid-teen ranks, with fair speed. It does take quite a bit of work to go from sort of the high teens to the mid-teens and then to the low single digits. Probably take a good portion of the month to get there. But I'm hopeful that I can beat my current previous best of rank 9. And I'm not exactly sure what deck I'm going to be playing yet. I haven't been really following the meta. And so in that sense, I'm going to try out some of my old decks that I used in Season 11, and or Season 10 rather, and see if they still work. I'm not sure if they do. My number one choice, the deck that I like the most, is my Mech Mage, and I got this from Brian Kibler. If you haven't seen Brian Kibler play before, he's a former or maybe even current Magic the Gathering pro, which is another game I've played a fair amount in my life, but it drains my bank account every time I do. And he played this one on a stream one day, right after the Goblins and Gnomes release. And it was a very cool deck. It's very aggressive. It doesn't have a ton of ways to deal with bigger creatures, so you do have to win probably by about turn 8 to be successful. It's not the best against Control Warrior. I have statistics on this because I actually used Hearthstone Tracker and played about 100 games with the deck, and I do have some stats, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. But I know it's very bad against Control Warrior and Handlock. Those were the two that it had major trouble with. The meta that it did beat with fair consistency was Control Priest, which was in Season 10 was a big one. I actually started playing Season 10 with a Control Priest, as you can see up here. But this deck is fairly well rounded. I think I ended up with about a 57% win rate, which is pretty good once you start to get to the lower ranks. If you're in the lower ranks with a 57%, you're pushing towards Legendary eventually. It just takes a long time to get there. So we're going to start out with this deck. I'm going to show you what's in the deck just so you've got an idea. And I'll post a screenshot of the deck on the side as well. So we've got basically the basic strategy of this deck is synergy with Mech and some spare part synergy. I don't have the Antonitis, which some people were using. Antonitis, when you cast a spell, gives you a fireball in your hand. I never did have it. I don't own the card. I've done a couple experimental cards in here, like Unstable Portal wasn't in the original deck. But I did find that this can grab some pretty punchy characters from time to time, or punchy cards. So it does help with a bit of late game if you get stuck there. Same with Flame Strike and Blizzard. These are kind of your last ditch efforts to win the game. As far as other mechs go, we've got Yetis, Shredders. Blast Mage is a star in this deck as well. He can take out sometimes one, or most of the time one, if not two characters on the other side in the early game. Arcane Intellect just to refresh the hand a little bit. And Annoyatrons are another nice one, but Mech Warper is really the key in this deck because of the speed increase that it can give you in getting out your low-cost mechs. Frostbolt and Fireball for direct damage or control removal. Harvest Golem, always a great card to have in for value. Tinkertown Technician, great card. Gets a buff when you have a mech on the board. and gives you a spare part, which would synergize with Antonitis if I had it, but I don't, unfortunately. So that's the basics of the deck. Let's get into a couple games here. So as I said, we're starting out at rank 23. I think I got 6 bonus stars for being 19. Most seasons I would come in under 20, so I wouldn't even have to play to get the card back. Well, I think you got to play one game to get the card back, but we'll start out at rank 23. As I said, I don't have any idea what the meta is going to be. I know that with the Undertaker nerf, it did shuffle the meta a little bit, especially with the Hunter decks. And, well, it looks like we're coming up against the Warrior. First off, let's just hope it's not the typical control Warrior. We might be in trouble on this game. So here, Unstable Portal's not a bad one to have early. We might be able to get something really nice out. Turn 2, Annoyatron's okay, and Spider Tank's a good turn 3, so I think we'll keep this. Ideally, you would want a Mech Warper right off the bat. The Snow Chugger is great here because we can freeze the Warrior and prevent weapon attacks. So if he doesn't play anything, looks like he's going to coin into something though. Okay, so we're not going to play the Chugger because that would allow him to enrage, though frozen. I think the best bet here would be Unstable Portal. That's nice. 4 attack while your opponent has 6 or more cards. He can enrage off of this though if he attacks into it. So it might not be a card to play here. We'll just pass the turn. So we have a Spider Tank that trades into, or not trades, but gets a good value against the Amani Berserker. He can't enrage off of attacking into it, so we'll play Spider Tank. This doesn't look like the typical control warrior deck, so I think we don't need to plan for that that strategy. I'm still gonna make this trade here, unless I draw something. Okay, yeah, I'm still gonna make the trade here, and yeah, we'll make this trade, and we will play a Yeti since it doesn't die to the Winax. We could play the Sapper. He's going to have 6 cards in his hand right off the bat, which makes him have to play one before next turn. And yeah, I think that's an okay play. It's a very unconventional start for this deck. Usually you see quite a bit of synergy right off the bat, and we certainly didn't get much synergy at the beginning of this, but we did have a couple solid plays that somewhat counteracted, so he's made a bit of a grave error there unless he's plays something else.
It's time for a little blood.
Well, we have a couple options here. We can try to protect our Sapper. That, however, gives him the ability to, say, bounce off of our Annoyatron, and that wouldn't be good because he's going to enrage.
What to do?
We could Fire Blast him and trade in with the Sapper. The play line here isn't very clear, honestly. So I think what I'm going to do is play a Golem and the Snow Chugger. And then we'll just attack face. If he tries to attack anywhere with the Amani Berserker, we'll likely be able to just Fire Blast next turn and take it out.
Back to work.
He'll likely trade in here. Well, that may have been a bit of a mistake on his part. It was a fairly strong turn for us. I think he made a mistake by not trading into the Sapper.
Charge forward.
This is the aggressive version of a warrior deck. I've played this a few times and it's not a very strong deck. Play here is to get the ghoul down and then try to make a strong play into the board. I think if we trade the damage golem Fire Blast into, maybe take these two out and then play our Yeti. For now, we'll ignore the war song. I don't know, does he realize that it got Wind Fury this turn? He might miss this play. Oh, maybe not. This is okay here. We're gonna Flame Strike. It'll clear the board and give us 6 damage to the face. There's enough value in this Flame Strike, I think. It looks like our Sapper is not gonna get activated again, so we can trade this off with something valuable at the first opportunity. Couple options here. We could put the Fireball into the Belcher. We could reverse and trade the Sapper and Fire Blast, which I think is the play I'm looking at. But we wouldn't get through the slime, where we would get through the slime and get damage in with the Yeti if we do the Fireball. And we'd still have our Sapper, so I think that's the better play here. We're in a fairly dominant position at this point in the game. It really does stem back to that that failed trade that he should have made, and he didn't. So we took advantage of that and got board control.
Jaina versus Rexa.
Hunters used to be about a 50-50 with this deck, and I don't know what they are now since the Undertaker nerf. This is a fairly strong opening hand. We've got the Mech Warper into Snow Chugger into Technician. Fireball doesn't have a place in this opening hand though, so it's got to go back. Well, if our Unstable Portal is as good as it was last time, then we'll be okay. But we're definitely on turn 2. Let's see here. We could do a turn 2 Mech Warper and Snow Chugger with the coin, and then turn 3 Technician. So we'll just pass here. We've got turn 4 Piloted Shredder. So this is a very strong opening hand. So turn 3 Technician, or we could do turn 3 Piloted Shredder. We'll see what he plays and then I'll make the decision then. So this is it's a Hunter deck, but it's not the conventional one, as you can tell. Well, he's going to take my Mech Warper, so that means the Tinkertown is likely the best next play. I couldn't play the Shredder anyway. We're going to ignore the spinner because it doesn't pose a threat to us, but the card that it draws can. I mean, this thing can pull Gazrilla, so we'll just we'll freeze him. He can't use his weapons now. One of the keys in learning how to play Hearthstone is to determine when you go for a trade or when you go for face. In that case, it didn't work out very well for us, but it was the right call at the time. Yeti versus Piloted Shredder. Yeti's the stronger play here. So this is it's a junior Hunter. That the deck isn't overly competitive as far as its composition is concerned. Now, the thing here is we don't want the Goblin Blast Mage to hit the Patriarch. We want the Patriarch gone, which will buff this to a 4/3. If we miss, we still have, I guess we have the option of giving the Yeti taunt to allow the Blast Mage to survive for another turn. So the play order here is to take out the Patriarch first, let this buff, and then we'll hopefully get a lucky hit or two here, or 3. Well, we didn't get anything, but we'll give the Yeti taunt so we can keep the Blast Mage in place. Actually, that might not be the best idea because we have a Tinkertown Technician in hand. We want to keep a mech on the board. So we'll let him, he'll likely attack this anyway, so we'll just keep the Rusty Horn. With the decks that are non-conventional like this one, sometimes it's tough to tell what you're going to be facing. When you're playing against the decks that are very typical, you can really predict what might come next and play accordingly. In this setup, not so much. So we could Blizzard here, which would kill the Timberwolf, and drop these down 1 damage. That doesn't kill this, but we can't Fire Blast him this turn. But I still think it's the better play because it puts these two into Fire Blast range. And we'll have to Fire Blast this one next turn because he's going to get pumped from the Timberwolf kill. But the Blizzard is, I think, the way to go here. So he's in Frostbolt range, the Hyena that is. So hopefully we draw a Frostbolt. If we don't, I don't really have any issues of trading either of these into that. It's gotten lots of value for him so far. It's too bad for him that he couldn't pump it up one more. So while we have the mech on the board, this is play order, very important how you play cards in Hearthstone. We have to get our Tinkertown out so that he gets the buff from having the mech before we do the trade. So we will trade into here. And the next strongest play here is to put the Shredder out. So we have a good dominant position on the board right now. And I think we're in a fair control of this game as it is. So if this is Freezing Trap, I don't want to put the Tinkertown in first. So we're going to put the Protector in to test for freezing. If it's Explosive, same result really. So likely Snakes, likely Snake Trap. We will play, we've got 8 mana. We can play 3 on Spider, 4 for the Cogmaster, and I think we'll Unstable Portal here. Oh, it's a Snipe. Wow. People don't often play that. So that changes our play a little bit. We could not play Unstable Portal this turn, and I think we're still going to play out into the board here. Unfortunate for him. There were 2 kill targets there and he missed both of them. I can, oh, I thought I had a swapper. I was going to swap him right back. Okay, we're definitely going to portal here. And wow, we got a really nice card out of that. Our dominant position on this is too much. He'll never recover from this. Even if he were to clear my board, these 2 still summon 2. He won't be able to do anything. Yeah, he's out of options.
Well fought, I concede.
Well played.
Alright guys, well we're starting to move down the ranks here a little bit. A couple easy games to play, and I don't expect we'll encounter too much resistance until after rank 20, which is when some of the people that smurf Hearthstone for gold will sit around the rank 19, 20. It's a little bit tough to bust out of there, but once you're out of there you can pretty much move down with a fair amount of speed. Anyhow, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.